Mangaroos Tutoring Services Mathematics Classes. CSEC Maths Paper 1, June 2018. Now remember, you can attempt any or all of the questions before I give the solution. So here you can see numbers 1 to 8. You can feel free to pause the video, attempt the questions, and then we will go through the solutions. Number 1. The number 3.14063 written correct to 3 decimal places is, and we can see the 4 answers here. So basically what we are doing is rounding off to 3 decimal places. So we should all know at this point that decimal numbers are the numbers after the decimal point. So that's the 1, the 4, the 0, the 6, and the 3. So the 1 will be the first decimal place, the 4 will be the second, and the 0 will be the third. So if we are rounding off to 3 decimal places, then we will be looking at the 4th decimal number. So in this case, that is the 6. So we check to see if the 6 or that 4th number, the number on the right of the number that we are rounding off to. So we are rounding off to the 3rd decimal number. So we look at the number to the right. We check to see if that number is more than 4, meaning 5, 6, etc. or if it's less than 5. If it's more than 4 in this, as in this case, we must add 1 to the number that we are rounding off to, which is the 3rd number, which is a 0. So we must add 1 to that 0. So we are putting back all the other numbers, so which is a 3, put back the point, put back the 1, the 4. 0 plus 1 is 1, and we replace all the other numbers to the right of that 3rd number. We replace them with zeros. So we replace the 6 and the 3 with zeros. Now with decimal numbers, the end zeros are not necessary. So we can actually leave out the last 2 zeros. The number would have the same value. So 3.141 or 3.14100. So let's look at our options. Here we can see that B is the same as the answer we worked out, so of course this will be the answer. So of course in your exam you will be shading the correct answer. I will simply circle it. Number 2. What percentage of 40 is 8? So when we see a question like this, of will be the denominator and is will be the numerator. So normally they ask it like 8 is what percent of 40. The way they ask it here is a little bit tricky. So remember, is the numerator and of is the denominator. So we can write this as a fraction and then it will be easy to write it as a percentage. So that will be 8 over 40. We reduce this fraction. 8 into 8 is equal to 1. 8 into 40 is equal to 5. In order to convert a fraction to percentage, we must multiply by 100. Some persons say 100 over 1. So we are cross multiplying. We can cancel 1 of the denominators with 1 of the numerators on either side. So 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 100 is 20. So if we look at the top, 1 times 20 is equal to 20, and the denominator, 1 times 1 is equal to 1. So any number divided by 1 is itself, so 20 over 1 is equal to 20%. This is part B. Sorry, the answer is B. Okay, good so far, easy. Number 3. Using the distributive property, 49 times 17 plus 49 times 3 is equal to. So let me give you an illustration of what the distributive property is for this question. So if we have a formula A, open brackets, B plus C. If we expand this bracket, this will be A multiplied by B plus A multiplied by C. So those two expressions are the same. It means the same. You will get the same answer if you had numbers there. So what we are seeing here is the 49 is like the A, and the 17 is like B, and the 3 is like C. So what we are doing here, we can say 49, we consider this expression on top can be written as 49 by open brackets B plus C. As we said, B is 17 and C is 3. We know that 17 plus 3 is 20. So it's really 49 multiplied by 20. Which is part A. Oh, the answer is A. Okay, now number 4. The next term in the sequence. So here we have a pattern, a numerical pattern. 1, 6, 13, 22, 33. So there are many different types of patterns. So you all can take a look at my video on patterns. For now, based on experience, I know that this is a pattern that is based on addition. Sometimes they are based on addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, growing patterns, etc. You can learn more about that in my other video. Okay, so let's see. In going from 1 to 6, we will check to see if we are adding. Going from 1 to 6, we are adding 5. And going from 6 to 13, so this should be mental math for you. From 6 to 13, that's, we are adding 7. 13 to 22, we are adding 9. And 22 to 33, we are adding 11. So we can see the pattern here. We are adding numbers starting from 5. We are increasing by 2 each time. So after 11, 2 plus 11 is 13. So we are now adding 13 to 33. 13 plus 33 is 46. So that's C. The correct answer is C. Number 5. 0.45 written as a common fraction in its simplest form. The simplest form, another way of saying that, is to reduce the fraction or write the fraction in its lowest form. All of those things mean the same thing. So what does 0.45 mean? So this is another way decimal. It's another way of writing fraction. 0.45, we know 2 decimal places means over 100. So let's reduce. What number can go into both 45 and 100? 5 can go into both of them. 5 into 45 is 9. 5 into 100 is 20. So A is your answer. So those are easy marks so far. Number 6. A certain amount of money is shared in the ratio. Another way of saying ratio is proportion. 2 to 3 to 9. If the difference between the first and the second shares is $40, then the amount of money shared is... So ratio is the way in which you divide the amount of money and you share that amount of money. So for example, if we have the ratio 1 to 2 and we are sharing $90, it means that one person is getting one part of it while the other person is getting 2 parts. So this other person is getting twice the amount. So the total parts will be 3. So we will divide 90 by 3 and we will get 30. So one person will get 30, that is one part, and the other person will get 30 times 2, which is 60. Okay, so let's look at this specific question. So we are not given the total, we have to find the total. The difference between the first and second shares is $40. So the first and second share, that's 2 to 3. So I would say 2 parts, one person is getting 2 parts of the whole, and the other person is getting 3 parts of the whole. So the difference between 3 and 2 is 1. That's easy. So it's 1 out of how many parts? So we simply add 2, 3, and 9. We add the ratios. So 9 plus 3 is 12, 12 plus 2 is 14. So it's 14 parts. And they're telling us that the difference between the first and the second, which again is 1 part, is 40. So we can write out 1 part is equal to $40. So this is 1 part out of 14 parts, so we can say 1/14. 1/14 is equal to $40. They're asking us to find the total amount of money shared. So we can, if we have a fraction is equal to an amount, we can simply flip that fraction and multiply it by the amount to get a total. 14 over 1, flip the fraction, multiply by the amount it is equal to, which is 40. So all we have to do is multiply 14 by 40. So I'll multiply 14 by 4 and add the 0 at the end after. 4 4s are 16. 1 4 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. So that's 56. We put back the 0. So that's 560. So D is your answer. Number 7. Which of the following sets is equivalent? So when we think about equivalent sets, we are thinking about the same amount of members. So C has the same amount. We can see that this set here has 1, 2, 3, 4 elements or 4 members, and C has 1, 2, 3, 4 members as well. So C is your answer. Number 8. Item 8 refers to the following Venn diagram. The shaded region represents, right, so this is a sets question. The shaded region, okay. So we can see that the shaded region is everything except P. How do we write that? We write it as P complement, which simply means everything that is not in P. So this is how you write P complement. So your answer is A. Just to further explain, if we had Q complement, then that would be everything outside of Q. So all around here. Everything but Q. You can pause the video at this time and attempt numbers 9 to 14. Number 9. Item 9 refers to the following Venn diagram. In the Venn diagram, U represents students who play games, H is hockey, and V is volleyball. The number of students in each set is shown. How many students do not play volleyball? So that's easy. So we are looking at everything but volleyball, similar to question 8 that we just did. So this here is volleyball. So we would be exempting the 2 and the 4. So it means that we will look at the 5. 5 is not volleyball, 5 is hockey only, and 3 is those that do not play hockey or volleyball. So 5 plus 3, so that's 8. Number 10. If Q is equal to the elements A, B, and C, how many subsets can be obtained from the set Q? So from ABC we can have A, that is one set. We can have B only, that's another set. C only. We can have A and B only. A and C, and we can have B and C. So those are like the different combinations. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets, or 6 subsets. Right, so 6 is 2 times 3, so that would be B. Number 11. Item 11 refers to the following information. P is prime numbers, Q is odd numbers, and R is even numbers. Which of the following sets is empty? So there are more than one way in which we can approach this question. We can look at the different answers and eliminate the wrong one so we can obtain the correct one. from reading the question, looking at part D, we can tell that this part, or D is the correct answer. Of course, you may have to go through the other answers to see this, but I will go straight to the answer and explain why. So Q intersect R, which is odd numbers intersecting even numbers. So most of us should know that even and odd numbers are different. There is no even number that is an odd number, or no odd number that is an even number. So these are definitely different. So there's no intersection or no number that is both even and odd. So your answer will be D. Number 12. If P and Q are two sets where the N P union Q means the number of members in P union Q is equal to 13, and N of P intersect Q is equal to 6, and N of P is equal to 9, then N of Q is equal to. So let's illustrate this in a Venn diagram. So let's put P and Q. So ignore the first circle, that is not important. So P and Q. So they are telling us that the number in P is 9, and the intersection between P and Q is 6. So let's start with that. So P intersect Q is 6, and the amount in P is 9. So it means that in this whole circle, this entire circle, would have 9 total. So if there's 6 in the middle, it means that we will have 3 on the outside here, because 3 plus 6 is 9. Okay, so if the union is 13, yes, the union is 13. So the amount in Q, let's determine the amount in Q. So the amount in Q will be the amount in these two circles combined, take away the amount that is in P. Sorry, that's a mistake. The amount that is in P only. Alright, so let's work that out. I already illustrated and you all may know the answer, but let's still work it out. Let's make some space here. So the number of elements in Q, as I just illustrated, is equal to the number of elements in P union Q, which they gave us, take away the number of elements in P only. So I put O for only, because I don't have enough space. So we already, alright, let's work it out. So the amount in P union Q is 13, and the amount in P only would be the amount in P, take away the amount in P intersect Q, which we already showed you all is 3. So we'll work with that 3. So 13 minus 3. That's easy, that's 10. So the answer is 10, which is B. Number 13. A man's taxable income is 20,000. He pays, so I apologize that some of the letters are missing, but I'll read a question for you. A man's taxable income is $20,000. He pays tax at the rate of 28%. The amount of income tax he pays is. So that's simple. We simply find 28% of 20,000, and that will be the answer. So let's work that out. 28% of 20,000. So 28% can be written as 28 over 100. Off means we multiply. That's 20,000. So we can cancel 2 n zeros below with 2 n zeros on top. So it's 28 times 200. 28 times 2 is 56. We put back the 2 zeros. So that's 5,600. So your answer is C. Number 14. A man's basic wage for a 40-hour week is $160. He is paid $5 per hour for overtime. If he works 6.5 hours overtime in a certain week, his wage for that week is. So he is both working basic hours and overtime hours. And there's a different rate for overtime as expected. So he's working 6.5 hours for $5 for the overtime hours. So we simply multiply the amount of hours by his hourly rate, which is 6.5 hours multiplied by 5. So let's convert the 6.5 to an improper fraction. 6.5 can be written as 6 2s are 12 plus 1 is 13, so that's 13 over 2. So 13 over 2 hours multiplied by $5 per hour. So let's see, 13 times 5, that's 65. 65 divided by 2. 2 into 6 is 3, and 2 into 5 is 2.5. So the answer is $32.50. So he is working for $32.50 overtime. His basic wage is $160. So we must add the basic wage and the overtime wage in order to determine the total wage. So we are looking for $192.50. Yes, we found it at D. This is the answer. At this point, you can pause the video and attempt numbers 15 to 21. Number 15. If $6 TT is equivalent to US $1, then TT $15 in US dollars is. So we must simply divide 15 by 6 to get the answer. $15 divided by 6. 6 into 6, 1. 6 into 15, 2. Remainder 3. So that's 3 over 6. 3 into 3, 1. 3 into 6 is 2. So that's 2.5. which is 250 or 2.5. So that's C. Number 16, the annual interest rate on a 15-year mortgage on a house assessed at a value of $450,000 is 5 cents on every $1. What is the interest paid on the mortgage for the first year? So 5 cents on every dollar. Let's make that into a percent. So 5 cents is 5 out of 100, because a dollar is made up of 100 cents. So the interest, we'll use simple interest, is equal to that 5 over 100, that will count as the interest rate. So it is the principal by interest rate by time. So the principal is 450,000, and they're asking for the first year, so that's 1 year. So again, it's interest rate by principal by time. So we can cancel the 2 and zeros below with the 2 and zeros on top. So it's 5 times 1 times 4,500. So let's multiply 45 by 5. 5 5s are 25. 5 4s are 20 plus 2 is 22. And we put back the 2 zeros. So the answer is 22,500. So the answer is B. Number 17. Mary invested $200 for 5 years at 5% per annum. John invested $500 at the same rate. If they both received the same amount of money in simple interest, for how many years did John invest his money? So let us start by finding the simple interest for Mary. We know that simple interest is principal by rate by time. So that's 200 by 5 by 5, all over 100. So we cancel the 2 and zeros below with 2 and zeros on top. 5 5s are 25. 25 by 2 is 50. So Mary's interest rate is $50. They told us that they both received the same amount of simple interest. So we know that for John, yes, John. So John has a simple interest of $50 as well. Now we are required to determine how many years did John invest his money. So John invested $500 at the same rate so we are trying to find time for John. We know that the formula for time is simple interest times 100 over principal by rate. So if you don't know that, you can take this down. So the simple interest, as we calculated from Mary, is equal to $50. We multiply by 100 divided by the principal, which is 500, multiplied by the rate, which is 5%. So we cancel 2 and zeros on top with 2 and zeros below. So let's work on top, continuing on top. So 50 divided by 5 times 5 is 25. 50 divided by 25 is 2. So that's 2 years. So the answer is A. Number 18. A salesman sells a car for $11,000. If he is paid a commission of 4.5% for the first $10,000 and 7.5% on the remainder, then the commission he receives is. So let's find 4.5% of the first 10,000. How do we find 4.5%? So this is what I would do. So we know that 4.5% means 4.5 over 100. If we move the decimal point one place to the right, in the numerator, we also do the same in the denominator. So that would make it 45 over 1000. Multiply by 10,000. So we cancel the n zeros below, 1, 2, 3, with the n zeros on top, 1, 2, 3. So 45 times 10, which is 450. So that's the first 10,000. So it told us, and 7.5% on the remainder. Right. So the remainder, we start with 11,000. We calculated for the first 10,000, so that will be a remainder of 1,000. 11,000 take away 10,000. So we are finding the commission for the last 10,000, which they told us is 7.5% of that last 1,000. So again, we're going to move the decimal point. So we cancel the 3 and zeros with the below with the 3 and zeros on top. So it's 75 by 1, which is 75. So we must now add the total, 450 plus 75. 7 plus 5 is 12. 4 plus 1 is 5. So the commission, the total commission is $525, which is B. Number 19. A television set costs $350 cash. When bought on hire purchase, a deposit of $35 is required, followed by 12 monthly payments of $30. How much is saved by paying cash? So of course, cash is normally less than hire purchase. Normally for hire purchase, you have to make a deposit or a down payment, and then you have to make installments, such as weekly or monthly payments. So a deposit of $35 plus 12 monthly payments of $30. So let's determine the total from the 12 monthly payments. So that will be 12 times 30. 12 3s are 36, put back to 0, so that's $360. We're going to add the $35 down payment, So that's 360 plus 35 . So the total amount when paying hire purchase will be $395. The total amount when paying cash is $350. $395. The hire purchase, take away the cash price, will give us a difference. 5 take away 0 is 5. 9 take away 5 is 4. 3 take away 3 is 0. So that's $45. So that's D. D is your correct answer. Number 20. Mr. Jones bought a car for $64,000. The car depreciates by 20% in the first year and 10% in each of the following years. The value of the car at the end of the second year was. So we'll work out the depreciation for the first year and then from that point the second year. So 20% in the first year. So let's find 20% of the $64,000. Cancel 2 and zeros. Okay, let's do 20 into 21. 20 into 100 is 5. 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 6 is 1. Remainder 1. 5 into 14 is 2. Remainder 4. 5 into 40 is 8. Put back the 2 zeros. So that's the first year. And the second year, the car depreciates a further 10%. So in the first year, the car was originally worth $64,000. It depreciated or had a loss in value of $128,000. So we must subtract that amount, or rather 12,000. Sorry, 800. Ten take away 8 is 2. 3 take away 2 is 1. 6 take away 1 is 5. So the car is now valued $51,200 at the end of the first year. So in the second year, it depreciates a further 10%. So let's find 10% of $51,200. Cancel 2 and zeros below with 2 and zeros on top. 10 times 512. We just add a 0 to the 512. So that will be $5,120. So the car loses $5,120. So let's subtract that amount. So we can see that this question is some working. It will take us some time. 0 take away 0 is 0. 0 cannot take away 2, but 1. 10 take away 2 is 8. 1 take away 1 is 0. 11 take away 5 is 6. That's 46080. So the answer is C. Number 21. So we are adding two fractions two algebraic fractions. So let us first find the LCM. What can 5x and 3x go into? What is the lowest common multiple for those numbers? So we will firstly work with the numbers. So let me do it right here. If we are not sure, we can simply multiply 5x by 3x and we will get the answer, which in this case it's a good option to do. So 5 3s are 15, and we'll use x times x, seeing that the answers have x. Alright, let's try x only, not x squared, because x squared is not necessary. So 15x. So 5x into 15x is 3, and 1 times 3 is 3. Now 3x into 15x is 5. 5 times 2 is 10, so we add 10. So that will give us 3 plus 10 is 13, so that's 13 over 15x. So your answer is D. You can now attempt number 22 to number 28. Number 22. If 5, open brackets, 2x minus 1, close brackets is equal to 35, then x is equal to. So this is simple algebra. So let's work it out. So we will carry across the 5. We know that 5 is being multiplied by the bracket. So the bracket remains on the left. Because the 5 was being multiplied, if we carry it across the equal sign, it will now be divided. So we will have 35 divided by 5. 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 35 is 7. So 2x minus 1 is equal to 7. We will now carry across the 1. So 2x is equal to, the minus 1 now becomes plus 1 on the right side. 7 plus 1 is 8, so 2x is equal to 8. If we carry across the 2, this is 2 times x on the left, so when we carry it across to the right, or across the equal sign, it becomes divided by 2. 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 8 is 4. X is equal to 4. This is D. So I will show you all another way of working this. This is really the longer way. It's expressed a little bit more accurately. So let's go. 5, open brackets, 2x minus 1. So some teachers use the first method that I showed, and some other teachers use this method. So what we are doing, in order to get rid of the 5 on the left side, we divide by 5. And whatever we do on one side of the equation, we must do on the other side. So 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into 5, 1, 5 into 35 is 7. So basically it's the same thing, but we are describing it differently, or showing it differently. So now we have 2x minus 1 is equal to 7. So in order to get rid, let me leave some space here. In order to get rid of the minus 1, we know that minus 1 plus 1 will give us 0. Whatever we do on the left, we must do on the right. So we must add 1 on the right. So that's 2x plus 0. So that's 2x is equal to 7 plus 1 is 8. Again, same thing. We divide both sides by 2. 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 8, 4. So what we are trying to do is get x alone on one side so that we can have x is equal to something. So x is equal to 4. The same answer, the working expressed a little bit differently. Number 23. 3x squared multiply by 2x cubed. So we will firstly multiply the numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. So we know that this cannot be correct. And this cannot be correct. So now we have x squared times x cubed. So x being the same base, and we are multiplying same base, different powers, or even if the powers was the same, we have the same base and we are multiplying. So what we do in this case is we add the powers. So 2, since we have the same base, we will be adding 2 and 3. So that's x to the power of 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3. We know that 2 plus 3 is 5, so we are looking for 6x to the power of 5, which is A. Number 24. Given that 3, I'm not sure what to call that, let's call that asterisk. 3 asterisk 6 is equal to 12, and 2 asterisk 5 is equal to 9. Then A asterisk B may be defined as, so let's see. Let's determine this by method of elimination. So let's try A for any one of them and see if we will get the answer. And if we get the answer for both of them using the given equation, we know it's correct. So 4 by B minus A. So that would be 4 times, let's look at this first part here. So B will be 6. So that's 6 minus 3. So that's 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So that works there. Let's see if it works for the second part, which is this here. So 4 times B, which is 5, minus 2, which is A. That will give us 5 minus 2 is 3, so 4 3s are 12. But that does not give us the answer above, which is 9. So it means that A is incorrect. A is not the answer. So let's try B. A squared minus B. So let's erase this here. Let's go again. A squared minus B. So for the first part, that will be 3 squared minus 6. 3 3s are 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. So that is already incorrect. So this one is out. Let's erase that. Then we have C, 6A minus B. So let's try the first one. 6A would be 6 times 3. Minus B. B is 6. 6 3s are 18. 18 minus 6 is 12. So that's correct for the first part. Let's check the second part, which is this here. 6a minus b. So that's 6 times 2 minus 5. 6 2s are 12. 12 minus 5 is equal to 7. So this is not correct because the answer we have above is 9. So by elimination, it will be D. But let's still check D to ensure that our answer is correct. So let's erase all of this working here. I will leave only the correct answer. 2a plus b. So for the first one, that will be 2 times 3 plus 6. 2 3s are 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So that works well for this first part here. Let's try the second. So that'll be 2 times 2 plus 5. And this is 9, which is correct here. So both of them are correct. So it means that D is correct. When 8 is subtracted from a certain number and the result is multiplied by 3, the answer is 21. 8 is subtracted from a certain number. Alright, so let's express this. So let's call that certain number x, that unknown number, we call it x. So 8 is subtracted from that unknown number, so that's x minus 8. And the result is multiplied by 3. So the answer, this answer here is multiplied by 3. The answer is equal to 21. So let's put equal to 21. So we must solve this number to find x or to find the original number. X is the original number. So let's divide both sides by 3. 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 21, 7. So x minus 8 is equal to 7. So let's add 8 on both sides. We are adding 8 because we want to get rid of the 8, or the minus 8 rather. On the left side, we know minus 8 plus 8 is 0. We only want x on the left side. So that leaves us with x is equal to 7 plus 8 is 15. So x, or that unknown number, is 15, which is D. Number 26. If x is equal to minus 2, y is equal to 3, t is equal to 2, then this expression is. So let's simply fill in the numbers in the expression. So x is minus 2, so that's minus 2 over y is 3 to the power of t, t is 2. So this can also be expressed as this, minus 2 squared over 3 squared. So that's an easier way that you can work it out. Minus 2 times minus 2 is 4, because a minus number by a minus number is a positive number. 3 squared is 9, so the answer is 4 over 9. So your answer is B. Number 27. Items 27 to 28 refer to the following two matrices. What is the order of matrix Q? So we call matrices by their row and then by their column, or row by column. So let's count. 1, 2, 3 rows by 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So 3 by 4 is the answer. The determinant of P is, right, so we are talking about this here. So the formula for determinant is one of the diagonals subtract, or the multiplication of one of the diagonals minus the product rather. Okay, let me say this over. It's the product of one diagonal subtract the product of the other diagonal. So let me show you. So 8 multiplied by 5 minus 6 by 7. So when we work this out, we will get the determinant. 8 by 5 minus 6 by 7. So let's work that out. Hopefully you should know this, you can work this mentally. 8 by 5 minus 6 by 7. 8 5s are 40, and 6 by 7 is 42. 40 minus 42, we have numbers with different signs. We say bigger number take away the smaller number, so that's 42 take away 40 is 2, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, so we keep the minus sign, so it's minus 2. Another way you can think of this is if you have $40 and you're owing, the minus represents owing. You are owing $42. It means when you pay the $40, you are still owing you are still owing $2. So the answer is B. At this time, you can pause the video and attempt the questions on this page before we go through the solution. Number 29. If the vectors P and Q are 3, 2 and minus 1, 4 respectively, then P minus 2Q is, so P is 3, okay, let's make that smaller, 3, 2, so that's minus 2, minus 1, 4. So let's work this out. 3 minus 2 by minus 1 is plus 2, so that's 3 plus 2. And below we have 2 minus 2 by 4, minus 2 by 4 is minus 8, so that's 2 minus 8, and this is equal to 5 minus 6. So when we have a positive and a negative number being summed, we take the bigger number, take away the smaller number, so that will be 8, take away 2, and we keep the sign of the bigger number. So 8 take away 2 is 6, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, so that's minus 6. So we are looking for 5 minus 6, that's A. So A is your answer. Item 31 refers to the following diagrams of a square and a rectangle. Which of the following statements is true about the perimeter of the square and the rectangle? So here we are comparing perimeters, the perimeters of both the shapes. So let's work out the perimeters and then we can know the answer. So perimeter is the distance around. So this will be 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 12 is 36, plus 12 is 48, or in other words, 12 times 4 is 48. So it's 48 meters. And the rectangle would be 9 plus 16, this is 25. And then the other two sides will also be 25. So that will be 25 and 25 is 50. So it's clear that the rectangle has a larger perimeter than the square. So the perimeter of A is less than the perimeter of B. So the answer is D. Item 30 refers to the following parallelogram WXYZ. In the parallelogram, R is the midpoint of XY. So we are seeing this here. Based on the information above, vector ZR is equal to. So let's firstly have an idea of what vector ZR is. So it means that we are trying to get from Z to R. One would think that the easiest way would be to go this way from Z to Y and then from Y to R, which is correct. That is the easiest solution. However, if we look at the answers below, we are not seeing ZY as a part of any of the answers, or we are not seeing YR or even YX as part of the answer. So it means that we have to find another way to get from Z to R, or another way to write the vector ZR. So let me mention some things before we go into that, before we find the answer. So what is a vector? A vector has both magnitude and direction. So magnitude meaning the length of the line when going from one point to another point. So it's like a directed line segment. So and the second thing is equal vectors, equal or equivalent vectors. So two vectors can be equivalent even if they are not starting at the same point. They would be equivalent if they are moving in the same amount of units in the x direction and the same amount in the y direction. So for example, let's just say that we had this parallelogram drawn on a graph sheet and we moved to get from W to X. We would move a certain amount in the x direction and a certain amount in the y direction. So let's say we moved 2 units in the x direction and 5 units in the y direction. We can see that the same thing will be happening when going from Z to Y. We are going 2 units and this is in a positive direction in the x, and then 5 units in a positive direction on the y. So let me draw that over. 2 units x, 2 units y. Oh my. Right. So let's just label that. So once they are moving in the same direction, then they are equivalent. So same direction and same magnitude, of course. So we can say that Wx is equal to Zy. vector wx is equal to vector zy. However, vector wx is not equal to vector yz. It must be going the same direction. So let's say we call this vector, let's say we call this a. Going in this direction, we call this a. A will not be the same as, let's say we are going, so a would represent if we're going from w to x. Let's say we're going from y to z. This will, let's call this b. Vector a will not be equal to vector b. They will have the same length or magnitude but not the same direction. So wx is equal to a. However, vector yz, we know it is equal to b. But seeing that it's the same length but the opposite direction, you can see that this is the opposite direction, then we can say that vector yz is equal to minus a. Right? Some persons put this dash on top, or they put it like a accent. Right. So now that we are either reminded of this or we have learned this, we can now check the answers and see which one is correct. So let's look at the first answer. Wx minus half wz. So wx would be the same as zy. We just mentioned that. Okay. So if we're talking about zeta y, we can call this wx. So we know we can't use wx so far, and then it said minus half wz. So wz is from w to z, right? But if we, wz would be the same as x to y, or vector xy. However, when we go from z to y, we are not going in this direction. We are going in the opposite direction. So we really want to go in this direction. So that will be not wz but zw, or in other words minus wz. So here going from y to x would be negative wz. And r would be half of that, half of negative wz. So we are seeing this here, negative half wz. So from z to r, from z to y would be wx, and then from y to r, which is, they said r is midpoint of yx, and we know yx is also equal to negative wz. So half of that would simply be half, negative half wz, which would be a. Please pause the video and attempt numbers 32 to 38. Number 32. 3800 millimeters expressed in meters is, so let's write that number down, 3800, and let's convert it to meters. How do we convert millimeters to meters? This is simple. We simply divide by 1000. So we can cancel, or we can simply move the decimal point. So the decimal point is understood to be at the right end. We need to move that point 3 places to the left. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is 3.8 meters. So the answer is B. Number 33. The distance around the edge of a circular pond is 88 meters. The radius in meters is... So when they say the distance around the edge of a circular pond, this can be referred to as the circumference. What is the formula for circumference of a circle? We will use C for circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So we are seeing the answers being expressed with the term pi. So we will leave pi and not work out pi. So let's work out the radius. So the circumference is 88 meters. 88 is equal to 2 pi r. So we will divide both sides by 2 pi. Two into 2 is 1, 2 into 88 is 44. So that's 44 over pi is equal to 2 pi into 2 pi is 1, 2 pi into 2 pi is 1. So that gives us r. Okay, so I'm seeing where I went wrong. I did too much working. So we could have stopped by 2 pi. Sorry, 88 over 2 pi. So let's stop there. We will see the answer. Okay. So here if we divide by 2 pi, 2 pi into 2 pi is 1, 2 pi into 2 pi is 1. So r is equal to 88 over 2 pi, which is D. So I worked this out a little too much. Okay. Item 34. Item 34 refers to the following figure, which shows a triangle resting on a square. The length of one side of the square is 5 centimeters and the height of the triangle is 4 centimeters. What is the total area of the figure in centimeters squared? So we will determine the area of the square and then the area of the triangle and then sum them. So we know that the area of a square is side times side. So side times side, this is 5 times 5, which is 25 centimeters squared. And for the area of a triangle, we know that this side is 5 centimeters. We can see that this is a right angle here. And the right angle here. So for this type of triangle, we can simply use a formula. Area is equal to half base times height, which is equal to half, the base is 5 and the height is 4. 5 times 4 is 20, 20 divided by 2 is 10. So the area is 10 centimeters squared. So that's 25 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. This will give us 35 centimeters squared. So the answer is A. Number 35. The volume in centimeters cubed of a cube of edge 3 centimeters is. So in order to determine the volume given the edge or the length of an edge, we simply, so the edges can also be considered a side. In some formulas they have it as volume is equal to side cubed. So the side is also the edge, so that would be, they give us that the side or the edge is 3, so that's 3 cubed, and this is equal to 3 times 3 times 3. 3 3s are 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So that's 27 centimeters cubed as your answer. Number 26. The area of a rectangle is 53.6 centimeters squared. If the length is multiplied by 4 and the width is halved, the area would then be. So let's firstly look at the formula for the area of a rectangle. Area is equal to length times breadth or width. So seeing that is simply multiplication. If we multiply the length by 4, it means that the area would also be multiplied by 4. If we have the width, then we would also have to have the area as well. I will show you this afterwards. So let's rewrite the formula. Area is equal to, so if we multiply the length by 4, that will mean we have 4 length multiplied by the width. If we halved the width, it means the width will be divided by 2. Right? So let's look at this part here first. 4a over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this will be 2a. The same thing happens here. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. So that's 2 times length times width. And we know that the length times the width is the area, so this is 2 times the area. So all we need to do is find or multiply the area by 2. The area is equal to 53.6. Yes. So we multiply 53.6 by 2. 2 6s are 12. 2 3s are 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 5s are 10. 1 decimal place here. So we put 1 decimal place in the answer. So the answer is 107.2. So your answer is C. Number 37. On leaving Trinidad, the time on a pilot's watch was 2300 hours. When he arrived at his destination in the same time zone on the next day, his watch showed 300 hours. How many hours did the flight take? So we are using the 24-hour clock here. So 2300 hours simply means 11 p.m. and 300 hours means 3 a.m. So from 11 p.m. for 1 hour passed, that will give us 12 a.m. So that's 1 hour to reach to 12 a.m. and 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. 12 to 1, that's 1. 1 to 2, that's another hour, and then 2 to 3, that's another hour. So that's 4 hours in total. So the answer is A. Item 38 refers to the following diagram of a trapezium. The area of the trapezium PQRS above is, so we must determine the area of the trapezium. What is the area of the trapezium? The area of a trapezium is equal to half of the length of the parallel sides, which is 8 and 18. Let's look at that here. Multiply by the perpendicular height, which is 5. So the area is equal to, let's say, 5 over 2 multiplied by 8 plus 18 is 26. 26 divided by 2 is 13. So that's 5 times 13, and this is 65. So B is the answer. Please pause the video and attempt the following questions. Items 39 to 40 refer to the following histogram, which shows the number of children aged 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 who took part in a survey. What was the modal age? So the modal age would be the age which has the highest amount of children at that age. So as we can see, that will be 7 years. There are 5 children at 7 years of age, so this will be the mode or the modal age. So don't get mixed up. They're asking for the modal age. Do not put 5. 5 is the number of children. The modal age is 7. Number 40. How many children took part in the survey? So we must simply add all the children. So that's 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. And 14 plus 1 is 15. So the answer is B. Number 41. The median of the numbers is, so when finding the median of numbers, we must firstly put the numbers in ascending or descending order. So luckily for us, it's already in ascending order. And then we pick the middle number or middle numbers. So I will show you exactly what we do. So let's cross the first and the last number out. Second with the second to last, and continuing like this. So we are seeing that we have 2 numbers in the middle. If we had 1 number, then this would be the median, but we have 2 numbers. So what we do in this case is we add the 2 numbers. 6 plus 7, of course this is 13, and we divide it by 2. 2 into 13 is equal to 6. Remainder 1, so that's 6 and a half, or 6.5. So the answer is B. Number 42. When 3 coins are tossed simultaneously, so simultaneously means at the same time, the possible outcomes are H stands for heads and T stands for tails. Okay, what is the probability of randomly obtaining at least 2 heads? So what this means is that you can have 2 or more heads. At least 2 heads means 2 or more heads. So we simply have to identify the combinations that includes 2 or more heads. So let's do that. So here we have 3 heads, so that's 1. Here we have 2 heads, here we have 2 heads, and here we have 2 heads. So that's easy to count, that's 4. So 4 out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4 out of 8. Let's write that down. 4 out of 8. We are not seeing 4 out of 8, but if we reduce this fraction, we can say 4 into 4 is 1 and 4 into 8 is 2. So C is the answer. Number 43. 600 students write an examination. The probability of a randomly selected student failing the examination is 1/5. How many students are expected to pass? So probability can be written as a fraction. So if 1/5 is expected to fail, then 4/5 is expected to pass. So let's determine what 4/5 of the student that are writing, what number that is. So 600 students, let's find 4/5 of 600. 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 60 is 12. Put back the n 0. 4 times 120. 4 12s are 48. Put back the n 0. So that's 480. So your answer is B. Please pause the video and attempt all of the questions if you haven't already done so before looking at the solution. Item 44 refers to the following diagram, which shows the cumulative frequency polygon of the lengths in meters of 20 fish that are caught by 2 fishermen. The interquartile range of the lengths of the fish is, so we must work out the interquartile range. So let's do that. The interquartile range, there's a simple formula. We will abbreviate. Interquartile range is equal to the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So what is the upper quartile? Well, we go on the y-axis, the cumulative frequency, and we find 3/4 of the number that is the final cumulative frequency number, which is 20. So 3/4 of 20 is 15. So go from 15, we go across until we hit a polygon. Then we come down and we get that value. So that is 3.7. So the upper quartile is 3.7 minus the lower quartile. So this will be, we have to determine where is quarter of the cumulative frequency. So quarter of 20 is 5. We go from 5, we go across to the graph. When we hit the curve, we come down. And this is 1.2, yes, 1.2. So 3.7 minus 1.2. So let's subtract. 7 minus 2 is 5. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the answer is 2.5 meters. C is your answer. Number 45. Which of the following diagrams best illustrates a function? So two key things with functions. One is that every x must be mapped onto a y value. Every x value must be mapped onto a y value. So automatically C will be eliminated. Okay. The next thing is that a function is one-to-one or many-to-one. So let's make note of that somewhere. One-to-one or many-to-one. So we are comparing this really to a relation. Okay. So we are looking for one-to-one or many-to-one. So here in A we are seeing that we have 1 to many. So it means that this one here is incorrect. We are seeing here that we have, yes, we have this one being one-to-one, but we also have this one being many-to-one, right? And we have here one to many. So because of this latter part, one to many, we know that this is not a function because a function is not one to many. It can't be one to many. So by elimination, these are out. But let's take a further look at D. So indeed, this is one-to-one, right? Each member of the x, or each x value is mapped onto one y value. So this here is a function. I know some persons would have difficulty with this, so I took my time to explain this. Right. Number 46. The equation of the line which passes through the point 0, 5 and has a gradient of 4 is, so we know that the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus c. Right, that's the form of the equation. M is the gradient, which we are given to be 4, and c is the y-intercept. This is where the line intersects the y-axis. At the point at which the line intercepts the y-axis, the x value would be 0, because the y-axis, along the y-axis, there will always be a value of 0 for x. So here we can see that we have a point 0.05, and since the x value is 0, it means that when y is equal to 5, that is the y-intercept. So we have the two values that we need. Y is equal to, they told us that the gradient is 4, so that's 4x. And at the point 0.05, it means that the y-intercept is 5. So that's plus 5. So the answer is C. At this point, you should pause the video and attempt the questions if you haven't already done so. Item 47 refers to the following diagram of a number line. The graph of the inequality in the diagram is defined by, so we are seeing that it's starting at the point of 1 and it's continuing past -3, right? So the most important thing is this right here, this circle. So sometimes we see that a circle is empty and sometimes it's shaded or filled. So what does that mean? When it's open, it means that we use the sign, whether it be less than or more than, we use the sign just as it is. If it's shaded, like this, it means that it's, so if it's going to the left, we are talking about less than. If it's shaded, it will be less than or equal to. If it's not shaded, it's simply less than. If we were going in this direction and it's not shaded, we will say it's more than 1. If it's shaded and going in this direction, we will say it's more than or equal to 1. So it's open, so it means that it's just less than, it's going to the left, which we can see is decreasing numbers, 1, 0, -1. And it's non-shaded, it's not shaded, so we do not put the equal sign. So that will be A. Item 48 refers to the following graph of a straight line. The gradient of AB in the graph above is, so the formula for gradient is M is equal to, M is for gradient, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we can read those values off of the graph. So it actually doesn't matter if we start with using A as 1.1 or B as a second point. It doesn't matter. So we can see, let's use 3 minus 1. Right, let's use point we'll use b as 0.2 and a as 0.1, just as I showed you there. So it means that b would be, the y value for b would be 3, and the x value would be 6. So that would be 3. The y value for a is 1. So that's 3 minus 1 all over. We said that the x value for the second point is 6. So that's 6 minus, and the x value for the first point is 2. So 3 minus 1 is 2, and 6 minus 2 is 4. 2 into 2, 1. 2 into 4 is 2. So the gradient is a half. So let's just do a quick check. If we were to do it the other way around, where b is the first point and a is the first point, let's see if we will get the same answer. So I will do it quickly. So m is equal to y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is 3 all over x2 minus x1. We will get minus 2 over minus 4, and this will give you a half, because a minus divided by a minus number will give you a positive number. So we got the same answer. Number 49. If fx is equal to 2x squared minus 1, then f of minus 3 is equal to. So we simply need to replace the x value with minus 3. So I will replace fx, okay, equal to, fx is equal to 2 by x squared minus 1. Minus 3 squared is equal to 9. So that's 2 times 9 minus 1. 2 9s are 18. So that's 18 minus 1, which is equal to 17. So the answer is C. Item 50 refers to the following graph of a quadratic function. The maximum point of y is equal to 4x minus x squared is, so of course that equation y is equal to 4x minus x squared is the equation of the curve. The maximum point is the turning point. So we are seeing that the graph is going upwards, and later on the graph is going downwards. So that point in which it is turning or transitioning from going upwards to downwards, we call this the maximum point. So we're going like this, and right here at the peak or the turning point, we call that the maximum point. So we simply need to determine the coordinates at that point. So of course we always read the x value first. So that's 2, and then the y value is 4. So it's 2, 4. So the answer is D. Next, what is the gradient of the straight line 2y is equal to minus 3x minus 8? So again, normally we have the equation of a line represented by y is equal to mx plus c. So what we will do, Let's write the equation that they gave us. 2y is equal to minus 3x minus 8. So in order to get the equation that they gave us to look like this, we will divide throughout by 2 so that the left side is only y. So let's do this. Divide by 2. If we divide by 2 on the left side, we must divide by 2 on the right side. So 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 2, 1, 2 into minus 8 is minus 4. So that gives us y is equal to minus 3 over 2x minus 4. So remember, for the equation of a line, y is equal to mx. So the coefficient of x is the gradient. So in this case, that's minus 3 over 2. So the answer is B. At this point, you can pause the video and attempt all of the questions if you haven't already done so. Number 52. Item 52 refers to the following arrow diagram which shows a function f. Which of the following best describes the function? So let's look at A. A is y is equal to x plus 3. Let's see if this is correct. 2 plus 3 is 5. So yes, that is correct. 5 plus 3 is 8. Correct. 8 plus 3 is 11. It's good. And 11 plus 3 is 14. So this is all correct. So this is the correct equation. So A is the answer. Number 53. If each exterior angle of a regular polygon is 60 degrees, then the polygon is a... So there's a formula that we can use to help us. The formula is the sum of the angles in a polygon is equal to 180 degrees multiplied by n, which is the number of sides in the polygon, minus 2. So let's try C, a hexagon. 180 multiplied by n. So a hexagon has 6 sides, so that's 6 minus 2. So that's 180 multiplied by 4. 4 times 18 is equal to 72, so that's 720 degrees. Now, one step further, if a 6-sided polygon has 720 degrees total internal angles, we can divide by the number of sides, which is also equal to the number of angles, to determine the amount of degrees for one angle. 6 into 6 is 1. 6 into 72 is 12. So that's 120 degrees. Now, they didn't tell us that 60 degrees is the internal, they said that 60 degrees is the external. So how do we go from having the internal angle to getting the external angle to know if it's correct? So let's quickly sketch the base of a hexagon. Right, not the best, but it will do. So we have a hexagon. We are drawing a horizontal line. So if the internal angle is 120 degrees, then since this is a straight line, the external angle will be 60 degrees. So this is correct for the hexagon. The external angle of the hexagon is 60 degrees and the internal angle is 120 degrees. So C is the answer. Item 54 refers to the following diagram. In the diagram, A, B, and CD are parallel. Which of the following best describes the relation between X and Y? So, what type of angle is this? We call this alternate angles or Z angles. So you see how a Z is being formed here? We call it a Z angle or an alternate angle. So X and Y would be equal. That's the rule. So that would be A. Item 55 refers to the following diagram of an isosceles triangle. In the triangle, the value of X is, so this is an easy question. The sum of the angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. If we have two angles being 30 degrees, we simply subtract that from the total and we will get X. So 180 take away the two angles 30 and 30, which is 60. So 180 take away 60 will give us 120 degrees. The answer is C. Please pause the video and attempt number 56 to 58. Number 56. The image of a point P, which is minus 2, 3, under a translation 3, 4 is, so we have the object P, we are going to translate it and then we get an image. So in order to determine the coordinates of that image, we simply must add minus 2, 3 plus 3, 4. Minus 2 plus 3 is equal to 1 and 3 plus 4 is 7. So the answer is D. Item 57 refers to the following diagram of two straight lines. In the diagram above, the line CD is the image of AB after. So this looks to me like a reflection in the y-axis. So once the points, let's say for example, the point D has the same perpendicular distance from the y-axis as the point B, and the same happens for point C and A, then this would be a reflection in the y-axis. So let's see. So here we can see that D is this distance apart. Luckily we have a tool that we can use here. And let's move this and see if it's the same for the distance of B away from the y-axis. Okay, so everything is moving. Let's do that over. So yes, definitely it's the same. Right, so let's check for the distance of C to the y-axis. It's the same for the point A. So of course you can count your units on the graph to determine it. So it is a reflection in the y-axis. Item 58 refers to the following pair of similar triangles. If the area of triangle ABC is 20 centimeters squared, what is the area of triangle MNO in centimeters squared? So if you recall, there's a formula that says the ratio of the areas of similar triangles. So let's put that down. The area, A for area, the area of triangle ABC over the area, so a ratio speaks about fraction or proportion, so the area of triangle MNO, so the area of triangle ABC over the area of triangle MNO is equal to the ratio of the corresponding sides squared. So let's see what sides we have. We have the base of both triangles, so we'll utilize that. So since we have the area of triangle ABC on top, we must have the area, we have the area, we must have the corresponding side also as the numerator. So 6 will be on top and 3 will be below, and we must square this. So 6 over 3 squared. Alright, so the area of triangle ABC is 20 centimeters squared over, we just put A for area here now, is equal to 6 squared, which is 36, over 3 squared, which is 9. 9 into 9 is 1. 9 into 36 is 4. So we want to make A the subject of the formula. So we have 20 on the left. Let's bring across the 4 on the left side, so that becomes divide. Okay, let's carry across the A first. 20 is equal to 4 times A. Now we'll carry across the 4. So the 4 is being multiplied, so now it will be divide, or we can say 20 divided by 4 is equal to 4A divided by 4. 4 into 4, 1, 4 into 4, 1, 4 into 4, 1, 4 into 20, 5. So A is equal to 5 centimeters squared. So the answer is C. Final 2 questions. Please attempt these questions if you haven't already done so. Number 59. Item 59 refers to the following diagram, which shows an enlargement. So we are seeing that we have several points for the two triangles. Triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime by an enlargement with center O. What is the scale factor of the enlargement? So there's a simple formula to determine the enlargement factor. So firstly, we can see that from triangle ABC to triangle A prime, B prime, and C prime, it is definitely getting bigger. Alright, so this triangle is definitely smaller than this triangle. So the triangle has gotten larger. We can also see that the triangle is getting bigger in the positive x direction and in the positive y direction. So we are expecting to see two things. One is that the enlargement is positive, and that it's a whole number, right? Positive because it's moving, it's getting bigger in the positive x direction and positive y direction, and a whole number because it's not being reduced. Okay, so already we can have an idea what the answer is. 2 is the only number that is positive and a whole number. But I will still go further to explain. So this is how we determine the enlargement scale factor. So we must measure the line O A prime, which is the length from the center to the image, right? So here what we will do. Okay, let's write the formula first. So it's O A prime over O A. So that's the image length from the center to the object length. So we can choose any 2 points, any 2 corresponding points in a triangle. So let's, for time's sake, let's just count the diagonals, and we can count that as a unit. So we have, let's count this as 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 diagonals. We are not so much concerned about the exact length. We are more concerned about the ratio of the lengths, or how does OA prime compare to OA. So this is 4 diagonals, so we will use that. 4, and OA is equal to 1, 2. 2 diagonal lengths. So that's 2. So we can see that it's 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 4 is 2. So it's getting bigger by a scale factor of 2. Right? So we can see this. If you look here, you can see that this length was 2 units here, and now it's 4 units here. This base was 1 unit here, and now it's 2 units here. So A is your answer. Sorry, C is your answer. Good. So 60. Item 60 refers to the following diagram. The diagram above, not drawn to scale, shows that the angle of depression of a point x from z is 30 degrees. If x is 10 meters from y, the height of yz in meters is... So I'm hoping that you know what the angle of depression is. That's simply the angle from the horizontal line. So this is the horizontal line. When looking downwards, that would be this angle here. Right? So if this is 30 degrees, now to be honest, I've tried this question and I've gotten correct answers, but some of the answers were not the answers that they gave. So I will go straight into showing you what the correct answer is. So we have here, let me make this bigger. Here we have an alternate angle, or some persons say is Z angle. So the 30 degrees here would be 30 degrees here as well, based on that rule. So this is 30 degrees. We know the formula. Tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So let's write that here. So we can write it right here. Tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So that would be tan, so we are using this angle here, so that's tan of 30 degrees is equal to opposite, which we do not know as yet. We'll just put that as O over adjacent, which is 10 meters. So let's put this as OPP so we don't get mixed up and think it's 0. So if we make opposite the subject, which is really what we want here, the opposite is YZ, and they're asking us for YZ. So if we bring the 10 across to the left, it will give us 10 tan 30 degrees is equal to the opposite. So your answer is A, 10 tan 30 degrees. Thank you for watching. If you have found this video to be helpful, please feel free to contact us for more information about our classes.